Hey, how's it going? It's Keith Townsend from the CTO Advisor, and I'm joined by Sean Massey from Ahead. Sean, great to see you.
Great to see you too, Keith.
We don't get a chance to do this often.
No, we don't, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're a native Chicagoan.
Yep.
And as I understand, you're a Bears fan living in hostile territory.
Yeah, so I'm a Bears fan, and I live about a half hour south of Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Oh, that's some rough living, man.
It is. It is. I'm really deep in enemy territory.
Well, fortunately, you're married to an awesome Bears fan wife.
No, unfortunately, I'm married to a Packers fan wife.
Oh, that's love. That's love, guys. You've seen love on the CTO dose for the first time. So, Sean, let's talk about digital transformation.
Yep.
You're an EUC expert in user computing. When I think of digital transformation, making sure that I can digitally enable my business, I don't think of end user computing. I mean, everything is in the cloud, so I can just pick up my iPad or whatever and use systems. Where are companies kind of missing the boat or disconnect? Where's the disconnect?
So, I think where we have to start with this is understanding kind of where the cloud fits in, right?
Okay.
And a lot of enterprises are really excited about the cloud and moving applications there for the right reasons, right? I don't have to have a data center. I don't have to maintain the hardware. I can focus more on the core fundamentals that drive my business. The challenge, though, that we have today is a lot of applications aren't necessarily cloud ready when we're moving them to the cloud. Right?
Okay.
So what we have is, we have a lot of 3-tier applications. They have databases on the back end. Unfortunately, with what I see, a lot of these applications also have, your standard Windows desktop client.
Yeah,
they have
what we call a fat client.
Yeah, fat client. Or, they have a web interface that's really designed to be closer to the servers.
So those applications, when I think of digital transformation, those, the ERP systems of the world that replatforming and creating an interface, a native interface for cloud is not necessarily, it's cost prohibitive.
Yes.
Is I think the correct term I'm looking for. So what I see a lot of companies do, they move those applications potentially in the cloud and build applications around them. So you're saying the problem is still accessing those traditional applications?
Correct, because when we move stuff to the cloud, let's take a step back there, right? When we think about user experience, right, and when we design applications, we're still kind of thinking about that in the traditional mindset, right? My users are on premises, in our offices, they're connected to my data center over the WAN, right? That data center usually isn't too far away. Right? Now, I'm going to take my data center and I'm going to take it, so let's take a company out of Chicago, right? They're going to take their data center and they're going to move it to Northern Virginia.
Okay.
So say they settle on Amazon and they say, oh, hey, we're going to put everything in US East 1. Well, now I go from having a data center that, maybe 50 miles down the road to one that's 500 miles away. And that impacts user experience because now I'm adding latency on top of that. So an application that may have been really well performing in the old environment now suddenly has additional latency. A query or a search that would take a couple of seconds now may take a minute or two.
So some people may ask, well, why not just move that application to a data center in Chicago? Why am I moving it to, there's other cloud providers, why move it to AWS in North Virginia 1? What's the driver? What's driving me to AWS?
Well, and I use that as just one example,
right.
But if you think about this, on a more global, on a more global scale, right? The nearest cloud data center to you may not be,
could be a couple thousand miles
exactly.
away.
Right? If I'm, and it also may depend on the services I want to take advantage of, right? If I have some applications that want to take advantage of a service that's only available in one data center, I may have to put my other applications there to take advantage of it as well.
So a great example, if I want to build Lambda functions around a legacy application, I want that legacy application and that data to be close to where the Lambda functions run.
Correct.
So Lambda functions don't exist typically in my data center. They exist in AWS. Or even if I want to take advantage of Google AI capability that application has to be close to the AI capability.
Or I have to get my data there somehow. But I think the point is, when we start thinking about moving these applications to the cloud, what we're missing is, well, how does this impact the user? So regardless of what my business driver is, it comes to a point where I put my application in the cloud because there's a lot of operational benefits, there's a lot of business benefits, but I forget about the people who actually use the application. And so I get all these benefits on the back end for IT, from a financial standpoint potentially, from an operational standpoint, but then I'm introducing a little bit of pain for my users. And that's the thing we can't forget about, right? Because if users aren't happy, that bubbles up. And then when you, let me put it this way, right? When VDI is bad, right, and users complain, what usually happens to that VDI implementation?
So I've definitely seen VDI implementations that were abandoned, they were built out, for whatever the case, there might have been performance regions, broadcast storm, whatever, but users stopped using it and it just, went away. Well, it didn't go away. They were zombie VDI deployments.
Yeah, it's shelfware. It's sitting in your data center taking up space.
Right.
So now you get rid of the, when you move your corporate applications out there, right? What do you think is going to happen when users are upset, right? They may not be able to abandon using the corporate ERP system or the corporate CRM system, but if it impacts their productivity, what do you think is going to happen on the back end, right? If my employees are less productive because I move my applications out to the cloud and I don't consider their experience and I don't consider the impact it has on their work, it's going to make them less productive overall, and it will impact my bottom line.
So bottom line, I like that segment. Bottom line, we can't forget the end user experience. From a product perspective, what are some of the modern products that kind of solve this challenge? I normally think of, like, the first product that comes to mind, I'm going to date myself, is Citrix, what I used to call MetaFrame, and MetaFrame XP, so that traditional VDI solution.
Yeah, so what we see kind of in the marketplace today is actually the cloud has actually enabled a lot of vendors to do more. So Citrix has a couple products, their core product, the MetaFrame, XenApp, and whatever they've renamed it now with Synergy this year. Citrix is cloud enabled. By default, they're hypervisor agnostic, they're cloud agnostic. I can run Citrix workloads anywhere. VMware has cloud products, Horizon Cloud, that runs in Azure and it runs in SoftLayer. Amazon has workspaces. Microsoft has an offering that will be coming soon called RDMI. So there's a lot of options out there, and you don't have to necessarily feel bound to one of them. You just find the best fit. If you're already a Citrix customer and you're moving stuff to AWS or Azure, you can just continue to use what you have because it integrates seamlessly. If you're a VMware customer, you can talk to your VMware account team about getting Horizon Cloud for workloads you move to Azure. If you're looking at AWS, you can look at workspaces. And there's another one too for Amazon. I can't think of the name of it. AppStream. So there's two services that Amazon has for delivering good user experience. And that's the key part here, right? We want to make sure we continue to deliver that good user experience so that our users aren't upset or by a loss of productivity, and they're not, spending more idle time waiting for their jobs to finish processing because the data sets are farther away.
At the end of the day, the business, IT is here to serve the business.
Correct.
And if end users are not having a great experience, they'll stop using the products, and then they will find a way to get their jobs done.
Yes.
This is where shadow IT comes into play.
Or they'll just be less productive, and then that'll have a further impact on the business.
So Sean, where can people find you on the web, blog, Twitter, etc.?
I'm on Twitter at Sean P. Massey, and my blog is thevirtualhorizon.com.
All right, and you can find me on the web at CTO Advisor on Twitter. You can find the CTO Dose videos in the podcast version of these on the web, ctodose.com. Until the next CTO Dose, we'll talk to you later.